Welcome back to NASCAR Nuts and Bolts. I'm your host, Caleb, alongside with my co-host, Mr. Flag to Flag NASCAR Gene, and my co-host, Thomas. Fellas, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well, my friend. Doing well, man. We launched this thing on January 1. I feel like all leading up to this week, man, and it's Daytona week, boys. What y'all got to say, Thomas?
I'm ready for the 500, man. Seems like it's been forever, but I'm surprised. It's episode 7 of our podcast. These past several weeks have gone by so quickly, and it's hard to believe we're already at episode 7.
I agree. The anticipation is building. We got the duels this week, qualifying this week. The Daytona 500 hopefully can be ran this week. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm gonna start off with some breaking news here on episode 7. So the N&B Crew will be at Richmond International Raceway on Easter Sunday. We will be out in the fan zone talking to some listeners, handing out some cards, some stickers, and koozies, and all the above. So we look forward to seeing you guys at Richmond and Charlotte and North Wilkesboro, and probably some more tracks in the coming weeks. TBD, but who knows?
Yeah, that's great, man. And I wore this shirt because if you're out there Sunday at the Great American Race, hopefully not into Monday, but we'll see. Look for me in this shirt and this hat. That's why I wore it today. I'll be cheering on Hendrick Nation, but I'll have some things, some cards to give y'all, and just would love to talk to a listener or two if you're out there, man. So hit me up if you're going, and maybe leave something in the comments, and I'll be sure to look for you.
You know, I see a little Hendrick Nation shirt that you got there. That's fairly new. It looks like. I think I kind of missed over that when I was in the museum. So I had my eyes set on a couple other things, and I'm kind of upset I missed it. I am.
Well, we can always ride up there and get you one, man. Yeah, this is their limited edition one. I'll spin around here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, man, but the cars are on the back. Can you see it?
Of course, Larson's on the top.
Thomas, you know why they do that, man. It's 5, 9, 24, 48. It's all just sequential number order, man. There's no favoritism at Hendrick, man.
So for the listeners that's watching on YouTube, Mr. Flag to Flag here just showed the back of his Hendrick 4-car T-shirt with Larson on the top, Chase second, Byron third, and Bowman fourth. And we got a little rivalry going on between Thomas and Gene here with Larson. So it's all part of it. It's all part of racing.
Yeah, but I'm ready to go, boys. I'm telling you, we're here. I do have one little thing to get off my chest in the intro, man, and y'all might have to check me. Yeah, y'all might have to check me on this one because I feel like it's gonna get a little bit of raised eyebrows, but y'all, real quick, I'm looking at this Shane Van Gisbergen, right? SVG. And I get it, man. He came in, won his first race. Cinderella story, loved it. I loved it too. But I'm looking at this thing a little differently. Like, is it me or is this guy is getting a lot of hype? 2 days ago, something popped up on Twitter where he's sitting in front of the track house with the keys to a brand new high country Silverado Z71 from Team Chevy. He's running in all these races. But guys, this is an Australian supercar driver with tons of experience that snuck up on NASCAR when they were running their first inaugural, never before done street course. Happened to win, ran good now. I'm not taking anything away from him. But, you had Justin Haley running good. You had some other drivers running real good. And I mean, now we got like I don't even think he's listed in the Xfinity field yet because he's not gotten his clearance. I think to actually race in that series.
Right.
And it's all this stuff about SVG, 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 and there's a lot of young drivers coming in. And I just wonder, man, is it too much hype? I don't know, man. I don't think he's going to just waltz into NASCAR and do very well at other tracks and at other I guess series even. I know he's running the ARCA race. He's doing some trucks and Xfinity and some Cup. It looks like Colleague has hitched their wagon to him riding in the 16 car and trying to get maybe a W there at a road course or something. What are y'all's thoughts, man? Is it? I just want people to pump the brakes on this SVG thing because, like, you know, we've had a lot of conversation about Daniel Suarez being on the hot seat and what's going to happen to Trackhouse and how you know musical chairs and this and that. But like, when I really break it down in my mind, is he really worth all that just yet? Can we just kind of slow the roll on this? What are y'all thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and attest to what you're saying. I definitely think he's overhyped. I think it's going to be a bust situation when he does get in the car. I mean, granted, yeah, he's probably going to run good at road courses and whatnot, but I mean, let's not forget, you had Justin Haley about won the race. Then you have one of the best road course racers on in the field. You had Chase right behind them. So I mean, I'm not gonna say due to whether cards fell in his hands or what have you, but it it's one of those things you can't just expect him to go to road courses and just win all of them, and you can't expect him to go to these tracks, these intermediate tracks and whatnot, and just haul butt and kick everyone's butt there. But I definitely think are they still going to do that? What is it, Project 91 thing with him, or is it still a thing with him, or is that like gone away now since he's going to be full time or whatnot? I'm not sure, but I don't I'm not here for the hype. I think it'll be kind of great. We had him here for Chicago and whatnot, but once the weeds and all the hype dies down, he'll be pretty irrelevant come 2025, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you both. I mean, I just hope he enjoyed his that win he got because he used up all of his luck with that, and I don't see him doing much of anything else in NASCAR. I mean, he's a great driver. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I just think he's really overhyped. I mean, everybody looks into a win every once in a while, but I just think given that was his the big race, he wins and everything. There's just a lot of hype around that. I don't know. I don't see him doing much. I think within 2 or 3 seasons he's going to be irrelevant. I mean, he might make a couple starts here and there, but I don't see it going much further than where he's at now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great story. Again, we all agree on that. That it for him to just kind of come into as a relatively unknown and, and get that win, steal it if you will. You know, it rained shortened, rained all weekend. You know, that's his style of racing.
Right.
Man, you really like. I can't wait for this week to see what he does in some these races in Daytona.
Right.
In 35 and 40 car packs and I mean, let's get a little pucker factor there and see how good we are. I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot I could say about it. I just personally, I'd like for people to kind of slow the roll and manage the expectations on this because I don't think it's one of these things where he's going to supplant anybody. I'd be more worried about Zane Smith if I was, like, and who knows, but Daniel Suarez, if he's on the hottest of hot seats or whatever, I'd be more worried about Zane Smith than I would be SVG. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I completely agree. I completely agree. And you talk about hot seats with Suarez and Trackhouse, and I mean, let's see. I think my focus versus SVG. Let's focus and see what Suarez is going to do this season before we jump the gun on anything. That's what I think.
Yeah, agreed. Appreciate that.
Yep. Well, guys, we are 6 days away from the Daytona 500, and We have qualifying this Wednesday. We have the duels coming up. We have the Daytona 500 on Sunday. So we're gonna dive into our racing rundown, and we're gonna go into our Daytona preview. So who do you guys think are gonna unload, be fast? Who's gonna get the pole? Who's gonna win? I mean, what's your bold predictions going into Daytona this week? Gene, I'm kicking it off to you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Since
sir.
you'll be there.
Well, I've got two trains of thought on this. You know, one's my head, one's my heart. So let's dive into the head piece real quick, which is probably the more rational one. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna say something that's we've kind of been alluding to some of our initial thoughts the last couple episodes, but the more I think about this, I'm going to go in a little different direction and say that I don't know that the Fords and the Toyotas are going to unload like we think. Like, I think Ford's been pretty dominant at the I don't know what do you call these things anymore. I want to call them plate races, but they're not really plate races anymore. Super speedways, right? So I think, you know, the prevalent thought around NASCAR and around the fandom is that the Fords are going to be fast, right, on race day. I actually am most worried from a Chevy guy perspective on the Toyotas. I don't know. There's something about that car and the engineering that I got a little insider information. I can't not reveal my sources, but there's a pretty big contingent from Toyota going to be in Charlotte in the next month or so. And when I say they're going to be coming over from Japan, they're going to be here for a while. And I think it's all about the unveiling of this new Camry XSE. So I'm a little worried about Toyota being like a little bit of a factor that they haven't been in years past. But I really think coming to Daytona, I think the Chevys are going to be faster than people think. I think the Chevys are going to absolutely, be like Wednesday night qualifying. You already know, man. Hendrick's going to be on the front row. They're going to unload faster than everybody, and they're probably going to sweep the top two positions. I will say Richard Childress and Hendrick are going to be stronger than you think, even in the duels and on Sunday. Do we want to go into our full-on picks, or do we want to save that for the end?
We can say that for the end. We can end on who we think's going to win. Who we think's going to win the 500.
Okay, and then I'll round this out with Gibbs is going to be fast too. All right, if Chevy's going to have a competitor, because I'm going on record. Chevy is going to surprise some people in Daytona, and it's only because to me they've got more of a blueprint with the car. They've probably been. They knew they were going to keep the Camaro, and everybody else was going to get new body styles. I got a big belief in the GM Tech Center over here in Concord. They know what they're doing. They've had some time to close any perceived gaps and maybe even create some. I'm gonna say Chevy's going to surprise some people come Speed Weeks this week, and then I will say that the Ford team, everybody has gotten used to seeing RFK run well with the Fords. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Penske. That's not really a bold prediction, but it's gonna be Penske being the fastest of the Fords. And I do have a prediction at the end, but I want to kick it to Thomas now to give some perspective.
I'm liking what you're saying about Chevy being fast, but in my opinion, my eyes are on Toyota, and I think that when we get to the picks, that it'll make sense. But my eyes are on Toyota. I think they're going to be really fast. I think honestly, all three of them are going to be very competitive. I also wrote down Penske's going to be fast. I think that's a commonly shared opinion, but I'm very excited for it, and I do think Toyota is the one to watch. Especially with the way, I don't know, Denny Hamlin, or really any of the Toyota drivers, I feel like could win, and I'm seeing Toyota right now.
Interesting. Gene, you're saying you think Chevy's going to unload and be fast, and I don't see it happen. I don't. I see Chevy running mid mid pack. I see if Chevy's gonna do anything, a big one's gonna happen, and they're gonna get in some luck. Um, Obviously, I do think the Fords are gonna be fast. I think Toyotas are definitely gonna be fast. I do think Hendrick will show up in qualifying at per usual. I think I got to ask, who do you think? Which Hendrick drivers will go to the front row?
Larson and Bowman.
I said
I'm
Chase
sorry.
and
I'm
Bowman.
sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Bowman. Larson and William Byron will sweep the front row. My bad. Yeah, yeah.
I
Bowman
said
needs a
Chase.
couple more weeks, but I'm gonna say,
Wow.
and his reign at on the front row ends this speed weeks. I think it'll be Larson and William Byron. If you twist my arm, I'm gonna say Byron gets the pole.
Byron gets the pole. It's a good pick. Good pick. Yeah, I can see Toyota's just showing up, being strong. I don't see Denny really helping anybody other than 23. I see Denny helping 2311 more than his own teammates. Of course, Denny's gonna probably bail at some point and ride in the back, but and try to strategize with that. But I definitely see Bubba Wallace heading up there and taking charge. I see Logano heading up there taking charge. I see Ty Gibbs heading up there and taking charge. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's going to be a crapshoot, and you're not going to know who's going to win it until it's probably the last 10 laps, maybe. But I'm seeing Hendrick sweeping the front row, but ultimately, I'm seeing a Ford taking that checkered flag at Daytona.
Hey, who's your two Hendrick cars to sweep the front row?
I got Chase and I got Byron. Chase and Byron.
You want to tell me who gets the pole of those two?
You already know I'm going with number 9 here. I'm kind of biased right now, so I'm hoping for a turnaround season. Just starting off strong. So hey,
That would do it. That would do it.
so who's the picks? Who you got winning?
Thomas, did you give yours? Yeah, you did give yours. Okay, I tell you what. Going back and forth in my mind all week on this, but I will say for the duels Thursday night, I got Denny Hamlin winning one and Joey Logano. We don't know which race they're going to line up in, so it's kind of a little bit tough. But irregardless, I think with Hendrick getting the pole, I think they'll race conservatively. In the duels, I can see Hamlin and Logano being up there in the mix. And so my race pick for the winner of the 66 running of the Daytona 500, I'm always superstitious to pick a Hendrick driver. So when I talked about my heart and my head, I got a particular Hendrick driver in my heart. I'm not going to reveal Thomas, but I will say that my prediction for the winner of the 66 running of the Daytona 500 is going to be none other than KFB Kyle Busch, and it's a lot of mojo to this pick. Caleb, you posted on it, and you've alluded to it, and I know you know the significance of the date of February 18th. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be Kyle Busch. He almost got it done last year. I still think because the Chevys are going to be fast, because Childress is a sleeping dragon when it comes to these. I think we're going to have an 8 get his 500. So what y'all got?
I can go ahead and go. So for the duels, obviously you don't know who's lining up where, but I have Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano for the duels.
Mm-hmm.
And for the pole, I have Joey Logano wins the pole. And for the winner, this might surprise you guys, I don't know, but I have Martin Truex Jr. winning the Daytona 500.
Wow, man. That'd be big too. I mean, we just named 2 drivers not to have their Daytona 500 in their illustrious careers. Caleb, what you got?
Well, for my duels, I have Mr. Denny Hamlin taking a dual win, and I have Chris Buescher taking a dual win. For the pole, I mean, I do think William Byron's going to get the pole, and for the person, I think kind of like Eugene, heart and mind. My heart wants Chase Elliott to win, but we all know how Hendrick luck at Daytona is.
Right.
I'm gonna go with another guy who has not won a Daytona 500. I'm gonna go with Brad Keselowski winning the 66th running of the Daytona 500.
Hey, man, I like it. I tell you, don't think I didn't pick up on. You told me Chase a minute ago was gonna get the pole, but I know you
Look,
know.
I'm like you, man. I started thinking I couldn't. I
I
started thinking.
know. I know. Listen, we love Willie B. We love Willie B too, but I wanted to pick Kyle for some things. I wanted him to win the 500 from the front row from the pole. That's what my heart's pulling for. So and you alluded to it, but Hendrick luck, recent luck at the Daytona 500 is pretty atrocious. Actually, it's
God.
man, it's been a long time since golly, 2005 and 2006 and 2014, and I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I do think Chevy's going to be going to surprise some people. I do, man. So, funny things next week we'll all be able to get. You guys are Ford and Toyota. I get it, man. But I just think Chevy's got something for him starting out the season. Now it'll balance out as the season goes for sure, and there'll be a point in the year where Chevy's going to wish they would have started designing a new car. Bob Pockers tweeted, I think it was today, how NASCAR will let Chevy run the Camaro again in 2025. There is no set plan as we speak. I'm starting to get a little worried. And let me tell you something. They're going away from sedan and coupe cars.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest with Chevy. I'm worried, guys. I mean, I don't want to see a Malibu out there, but if that's the way it is, so be it. But what are we doing? Are we just running, crossover and hybrid and sport utility vehicles now for Chevy? I'm a little worried. I can't believe they're going to not produce the Camaro.
Yeah.
I don't. We could probably have a whole episode on what's going on in the automotive industry with stuff like that.
Well, I got to add to your tweet about Pockers. I think I read also it's that, come 2025, yeah, they can run them, but it's like after that, then, what is GM going to want to put on the track since they're not going to be making that? What's going to sell so they can put it on the track and so they can run? So, yeah, you got a point. I mean, what is Chevy going to do? That's the question.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I'm a car guy, but I don't go out and buy cars all the time, and I don't have to have a new car. But man, when I retire one day, I can't wait to go get something. And I mean, the first thing I would consider, if obviously you got to have a truck. If you live in the South, you got to have a truck, man.
It's the number one rule.
Absolutely, but I would pine for a muscle car of some sort. My neighbor's got one of those Roush Mustangs, man. That every time he crawls that thing out of the garage, man, it sounds so good. But I don't know. Maybe there's just not the market. Obviously, the market's not telling Chevrolet to produce Camaros, but I don't know, man. It's a very interesting times in automotive industry. So, what y'all got?
I saw some concept art on Instagram. I can't remember exactly what account, but possibility of a Cadillac.
Yeah, I think I saw that too.
Sedan kind of I don't know exactly what the name of the car is, but it was like a Cadillac kind of concept NASCAR. It looked cool, but I don't know if Cadillac would sell real well that like a Camaro would. I mean, it's GM, but I don't know if it would sell. If it would work like a Camaro does.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I don't know the numbers, but if I had to guess, if they can't sell Camaros, I mean, those CTSs and Cadillac coupes and stuff, I don't think they're probably better numbers sold out there unless you hit the rest homes and the K&Ws and the country clubs. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who drives those. They're sweet cars. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know that they're selling any more than they're selling Camaros. But we'll see, man. I don't know. So we got just to recap, we got Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and Brad Keselowski as our picks for the Daytona 500 winner. All right. Can't wait to revisit that next week. All right. Does anybody have anything else on the Daytona preview?
Nope.
All right, boys. Well, let's roll into trackside chatter this week. And for trackside chatter, I wanted to give it a couple weeks for the hype to die down. And I wanted, I don't want to be a spoiler by any means on this. Thomas, have you watched all the Netflix stuff yet, or have you had time? I know you've been super busy, man.
I haven't watched all of it. I've seen a little bit of it. But I've enjoyed what I've seen so far, but I haven't finished it all.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do this in a way that doesn't necessarily spoil it for you or the listeners, but I want to go a little bit further into the Netflix full speed stuff. Give you guys an opportunity to take off in y'all's directions as well on this. But boys, I was, Caleb and I, we pretty much just binge watched it upon drop, right?
Yeah.
And I want to go on a little bit of a tirade here. So I log into my Netflix account, super excited, cannot wait to watch this stuff. And I must have spent 10 minutes trying to find the doggone show. And Caleb and I talked about this, but like on your little Netflix feed where it shows you based on what you watch and how you do things, like I couldn't find it, boys. I mean, even when I had the little subsection of sports dramas or whatever they call it, sports documentaries, it wasn't even on that little feed at all. Quarterback was Full Swing, Drive to Survive. I had to go and physically search NASCAR Full Speed to pull it up to then add it to my watch list to play.
Right.
Caleb, did you have that same experience?
I indeed did. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we're in the South. I'm pretty sure Netflix has our area and demographic and what we like to watch and things of that nature. I don't know. Like got me thinking, what is Netflix really doing to market this outside of NASCAR, outside of our world, right?
Right.
So stick a pin in that real quick. So start to watch it, click on, and I knew, based on talking to my cousin and some of the preview stuff that we did on the show, there's only going to be 5 episodes. Why I let that get under my skin? Well, I'll tell you why. Because before I start watching, I went and clicked on Drive to Survive. Ain't watched a second of Drive to Survive. Boys, y'all know I like different forms of racing. I like to pay attention to it. Ain't watched the show at all. Heard a lot of good, things about it. But there are 5 seasons out of Drive to Survive at 10 episodes apiece. That's 50 episodes currently.
Mm-hmm.
And NASCAR gets 5 episode drop. That bothers me, y'all. I'm starting to get really mad about it now that I think about it even more and more. Because what are we doing? We're hyping up these international guys that come once or twice a year to America. The racing sucks. I'm just saying it. Formula One racing from a competitive vantage point sucks. It is terrible. It is probably the worst of all the racing forms that you can go watch. You go watch USAC midgets. You go watch wing sprint cars. You go watch the Cars Tour. You go watch any NASCAR series, ARCA. You will find better racing. You will. You can go watch to your local go-kart track probably. K1 Speed over here in Concord's probably got better racing going in Formula One.
I was gonna say the go-kart track back behind Concord Mills.
Yeah, you might
Norman
catch
Day
a
is
little
better racing.
4th grader out there whooping some tail, right? Anyways, heck, I've had better races at the NASCAR Cafe in Steve Park in Myrtle Beach. Hey, I've been holding on that one because I know, Caleb, you remember that. You remember being at 30 Myrtle racing them cars, man. But anyway, the racing sucks. I said it 3-4 times. I got to get it out, boys. I'm starting to get heated, so I just need to get it out. And it gets me thinking, like, you got all this awesomeness of the show. Dale Jr. executive producing, Marty Smith. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but man, I'm starting to wonder if Netflix has handcuffed Dale Jr. and handcuffed this production, and they dang sure didn't market it like I think they could have. And it stayed in the top 10. Like, it's not there now for top 10 US shows, but it stayed in the top 10 for a couple weeks nationally, internationally. I'm just, and then I go and think about, like, in I guess 2 years ago when we had USA Network's Race for the Championship, that was 9 episodes, and
Mm-hmm.
double the episodes. So, like, I enjoyed that just as much as I did this one. This one left me wanting more. In other words,
Yeah.
this one just left me wanting more. And I got some notes here about kind of how the show goes, but I do not want to spoil that for Thomas and the rest of the viewers. But I'll just say this: like, there's some drivers that you think are going to be featured that don't really get a lot of run,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got a couple that do get a lot of run. I enjoy getting to know and see those drivers a little more, but I think there are probably going to be some folks that don't appreciate not having certain drivers who advanced far in the playoffs much of the storyline. So,
Yeah.
what are y'all's initial thoughts? I think I got it off my chest, but I'm still kind of mad about it, man, to be honest with you. Like, if they don't re-up, and I think they will, but if they don't do 10 episodes, man, I mean, really they owe us 15 because they shorted us on the 5 for season 1. But I'll take 10. But what y'all got on this, man? Because, like, I think after the good feeling and all the awesomeness goes away, it's like I feel slighted as a NASCAR fan.
Yeah. Thomas, I gotta ask. So, how far did you make it into the episodes, or like what episodes did make it to?
I've just seen like clips of the episodes. I haven't seen a full one all the way through.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I definitely agree, Gene. With who they could have documented, who they didn't document, and then the way that it has been promoted. Because it kind of, you heard about it when it was in production, and then it kind of just died off until, you know, until the end of the season, wasn't it, or something? Yeah, basically until the end of the season. Then it was kind of like, oh shoot, the Netflix special. Yeah, I forgot about that. But I just think, from my opinion, it was a well produced series, and it appealed a lot. It will appeal to new fans, new followers of the sport, and also longtime followers like us. And you learn a lot, and I really like, and I enjoyed seeing the playoff races from a different POV. That's what I enjoyed. I like that insight, and I really enjoyed the Marty Smith voiceover. I think we should have had more of that. I'm a huge Marty Smith proponent. Whatever, like, I could say that man could narrate the alphabet and it'll be badass. But like,
Yeah.
I just that's my take on it. I just really think they restricted some things. Granted, yes, some drivers had more access than some, but I just think it could have been. It was good, but it could have produced more. More could have been produced out of that.
Yeah, and let me say this: like, I don't want to make it appear that I am bashing the production of it, because I'll be honest, it was awesome. Like,
Oh
the
yeah,
production, it left me wanting more. It did everything it was supposed to do. I tell you this, Caleb, I think adding those 5 episodes eliminates that thing altogether of, like, what you think you missed. If they
right,
would have just put the 5 episodes in there to do that, you wouldn't have had that feeling.
right.
Um, it makes me feel like it was pressured and capped for
Yeah,
from Netflix, not NASCAR. And I think, honestly, I don't know. I think NASCAR spends a little too much time. I don't know. I don't. This is gonna sound bad. NASCAR, if they have an inferiority complex, they need to get rid of it. They are the daddy. They are the number one motorsport in the United States, and fastly becoming number one motorsport, if not already. I think they are in North America. We're gonna hit, South America. I mean, look, we got people interested, overseas. I just think it's time to start flexing that. And when these other partners that can help grow the sport kind of come at you like a little like cross, like like for instance, if that happened that way, like, hey, we're only giving you 5 episodes.
Right.
If I was NASCAR, I'd say, well, guess what? We're gonna take our ball and go elsewhere because that's not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm overselling NASCAR, but I really don't think I am. I really don't. I think we're on the cusp of something, and we got to cash in. And settling for less is what I'm not about. So,
Right.
I don't know. I just it got acclaim. I loved it. But the more I started thinking about it, I was like, man, we could have had more. We could have had more. And I do agree with you in that the moments are for both casual and diehard fans, but it's not like anybody on this pod learned anything about or different about the sport itself. But man, we're diving into the drivers and the personal lives, and there's a few moments like after races that make the show for me.
Yeah.
There's one particular one. I will not spoil it for you, Thomas, but it takes place in a hauler, or I'm sorry, what do you call those things?
Motorhome.
Motorhome. Takes place in the motorhome after a race, and that to me was the best part of the show. That was the moment of the show to me, because it showed the raw emotions and to that particular driver and his family. I'm just appreciative to let a little glimpse of that in, because that shows the human element, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that's all. I mean, if y'all got anything, hit me with it. But they better give us something else better and more in depth on this season 2.
I mean, you know how F1 and Netflix are. You know how that partnership is. And what if maybe season 2 or more episodes could be on a different platform? I mean, there is other alternatives other than Netflix, and I do think NASCAR could have done a better job marketing it. And Netflix obviously could have made it easier to find. So I do think they're being, I guess, censored, if you will. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but they're being kind of shut out and put to the side because they're like the Netflix's true favorite is F1. So there might be other alternatives, other streaming platforms or other places where the episodes could be shown, but who knows? Maybe it might not be as good if it's on a different platform. Who knows?
My thing was, I don't see why they just didn't do Peacock. They've got the deal with Peacock. Everything is the previous races are, if not on YouTube, they're on Peacock. You got the Chase documentary on Peacock. You got Lost Speedways on Peacock. You got all these other forms. You got the Coffee with Kyle leaving on Peacock. So why not just go back to Peacock? Yeah, was it Race for the Championship, the previous one, that's still there. But that was originally on USA. I mean, I guess you could say that's like a sub for Peacock, but why not just go back to where it's at, or where it was at? That's my take on it. And I mean, yeah, granted, Netflix maybe top streaming in the in the world or in the country, but why not just go back to where it was?
Yeah. You also have Amazon hitting the fold too. So like between Peacock, Netflix now, and then Amazon even, there's an opportunity to maybe do that. I'm gonna give Netflix one more shot at this, personally, but like if they drop 5-episode seasons, I'm out. I'm just gonna tell you, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Is Dale Jr.'s involvement was probably made that better than it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, well, Dale Jr.'s what's your thoughts on that whole deal in the last week or so of dropping? He ain't really got a contract just yet. What y'all's take on that? Because that could be crippling to a lot of things. NASCAR, the network itself, and NBC, us as race fans. Man, if there's no Dale Jr. on that thing, what are y'all's thoughts on anything Dale Jr. related there?
If I'm Fox, I am putting up big bucks. That's what I'm doing. I'm sending offers. I'm saying, hey, Mike Joy, your time may be up because we want to put Dale Jr. in this booth.
I tell you what. Speaking of that, y'all want to just roll into Thomas's?
I mean, hey, why not?
Yeah, I might preview that for you, Thomas. But let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that.
Moving on to Speedway Spectacle. Okay, so for today's Speedway Spectacle, I'm actually going to be doing the diecast in the hero card one and not.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's the. So do you want me to go ahead and continue, or did you want to continue what you were saying about Junior?
Well, I think Caleb. I think Caleb summed it up. I think if there's a lot of things about Fox that if Dale Jr. was available, that that could be fixed really quickly. But we can get into that some other time. My bad.
All right, so for the Speedway Spectacle today, I want to bring up a certain topic about people who bring way too many hero cards or way too many diecasts to a race, meet and greet, whatever it is. So I have some things written down, some certain instances where I've seen this happen, but I want to hear what you guys, some experience you guys have before I say what I've seen.
I think the oldest of the bunch should start this one up with the most experience, been to the most races. I think you should start this one up.
Okay, boys. Well, I tell you, my frame of reference is a little older than y'all's. It dates back to the old Winston Cup previews at the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem, right before Daytona. Actually, it would have been probably last week or the week before the Super Bowl or something. You go to Winston-Salem for the Winston Cup preview. You get a wristband. Everything was orderly. They got the whole arena sectioned off for each driver, and you just basically get in line once you got your wristband, come back and do your thing. It was okay. Yeah, that was the way to do it back in those days. I can think of a particular time being in the pits in the getting the hot pass deal. That was probably my biggest scores, if you will, as far as getting to meet drivers and just being in the right place at the right time. But a lot of that's timing and luck. And then actually, I think you guys can't see it in my camera, but let me grab this real quick because this will tell you. This is my favorite story about going to get autographs because I don't really do that kind of stuff as much anymore. But this right here came from a book signing at Concord Mills when this book dropped. It was when probably in the 2002 season, if maybe. But this is the Driver 8 book signed by Dale Jr. And let me tell you something. If you think you've been at Concord Mills when it's crowded at Christmas time, this man walked through the food court and it was like, man, I thought I was going to get trampled. I was probably there was times I was shoulder to shoulder with him walking through the food court to the Books A Million to get this signed, and man, it was pretty crazy. But I think when people like show up numerously and with bags full of things, and like they get up on a fence at a track where the fan zones are, where drivers they know are going to come out, and they line up 8 diecasts all out there going to one person. I think it's a little too much, you know. I've seen people go so far as to stick a kid out in front. Y'all got plenty of stories recently about that. I'm sure y'all could share, but I think it's a little much. I mean, just modestly, if you're going to do that kind of stuff, take your little one piece for each driver and apply some common sense and understand that there's hundreds or maybe even thousands of people trying to vie for a piece of this person in a limited amount of time. So that's all I was going to say.
Yeah, I gotta add to that for sure. You know, it's a sad reality, I think, because you have the opportunity to meet your favorite driver, the opportunity to meet drivers, and me and you've experienced it in the garage. I've experienced it at Martinsville plenty of times, and and it's just, and we wonder why some drivers hide from their fans because you have people constantly shoving their die casts like in their faces, and they want you to sign like 8 die casts and 10 hero cards, and they bring suitcases into the garage area, and it kills because the average fan like us, it's harder to get a hot pass, VIP pass, what have you. But then you have scalpers and eBay scalpers or resellers who constantly get them every single race. And me and Thomas were at what was it, Darlington, and Brad
Yeah.
Keselowski, dude's got a sign like a book of cards just trying to hand out so he could sign and give them back. Well, get Brad to sign and then take them back.
Don't forget
And
about Blaney. Like
oh
about
yeah,
10 minutes
then
later, about Blaney.
then Blaney, same at Darlington, just hopping over us, elbowing us, like just trying to all over us, man. It's crazy. It's just it's too much when you, and that's what you want to meet your favorite driver. It's not like the old days where you can just go to a McDonald's and meet Bill Elliott and hang out all day. But now we have the reality of wristbands, and that's what kills it.
Yep.
Yeah, Thomas, what you got?
So I got several stories, several things that I can talk about. But the first thing that I want to bring up, it was a Coke 600 weekend. I went to a Bubba Wallace signing. I think I've already mentioned this on the podcast before, but I'll mention it again. But after I walked out, I got back in the truck and I saw a guy walking out of Walmart. He had, Bubba Wallace gear on, but he was pulling a suitcase with him. And you can only imagine what was in the suitcase, diecast, hero cards, all that mess. So it's a bad look, honestly. And every driver is going to know if you pull up to their meet and greet and you put 6 diecasts on the table, they know you're going to put them on eBay. It's obvious. And that more recently, I saw, I think it was on Facebook, a guy who went to Florence for the icebreaker, met Dale Jr., had like 10 cars, got them all signed. And I mean, whether or not he sells them, he said he wasn't going to sell them, but who knows? But I think that's extremely overkill. I mean, I get like taking a couple, to get signed, but it's not a good look having to carry all those diecasts into the track, and people are going to look at you and judge you and know you're going to put them on eBay.
Yeah.
But the one last thing I wanted to mention was, I guess it's been a few months ago now when I drove to Lionel to pick up my Dale Earnhardt Daytona win. When you walk into the Lionel store, you walk to the very back where the NASCAR Classics are, and there was this one guy in a Tony Stewart jacket, and he was going through the Earnhardt diecast. He took one out and was looking at it, and he smelled it. We're talking, he smelled from the hood all the way down to the end of the car, just smelling it. You could hear it. You could hear the sniffing, and that's the kind of people that who bring these cars to the tracks to scalp for eBay.
You did it again, Thomas. Boy, I'd be about to fall off my chair, and Caleb's about to fall off of his right now. He can't even contain himself, man. Thank you for that visual. Because of all the times we done talked about being in Lionel, you say that story for the pod. Thank you, sir, because that was an authentic reaction. I never heard that story. This man took a diecast and sniffed it like he was sniffing. I ain't gonna tell you what I think he's.
Yeah.
I better stop right there. He was sniffing that thing like something he wanted to do something to. Listen, that
I
takes.
can understand, with the Lionel's quality control these days. I can understand taking it out of the box and looking at it to make sure you're not missing a hood, missing windows, missing tires. I can understand, you check it and make sure there's no defects. But to take it and just inhale, just smell the paint right off of it, that's a problem.
Maybe he thought it was like a brand new box of Jordans, man. That new shoe smell. So look, Thomas, I remember you sent me that text. It was like, and I know we have the running joke we got with it, but I didn't know that was like legit.
Oh yeah, good. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, all those jokes that me and you have had all this time, all these jokes, and then I actually see it. I was in disbelief that somebody would do that in public. I mean, what you do in your own time at your house is your business. But when you're in public doing that kind of stuff, it's not okay. It's not okay.
Man, makes you think, what's he do when he gets home with him?
I
Good
don't want to
gracious.
know.
Good gracious.
That's why the prices are going up.
Yeah, listen. I love diecast just as much as the next person, but wow, I don't think I've ever just done that to him.
Man,
That's funny, man. God, were you the only one that saw him do it?
I think so. I don't know if any of the people behind the counter saw him do it, but I wasn't like real close to him, but I was behind him because I was walking up to him to get one, and I just saw it. I don't know if he knew I was there or not, but I sure saw it.
Man, I tell you, the older I get, I might have said something to him. I might have had to, say something. I'd be like,
oh
"Hey,
my
man, you
god.
good? You good? Are we having a moment? Do I need to? Do you want me to step away real quick?" Um,
Dude,
Golly,
I
wow. You know
no,
what you know what I really don't like, and I kind of alluded to it, but um, I don't like the taking the kids and using them as props. And not
we
saying
saw
everybody that has a kid there at an event or something does that, but like you might want to pay attention to that next time because when the kid because people that wait around for drivers to get a chance to meet them and stuff, they usually can observe these things, and then you might see one where like the kid has no idea where they're at and what they're doing, right? And they get kind of used as a prop. That bothers me a lot, but no
you
way to
know
prove.
we saw that a couple times at Bristol.
Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly.
But like you say, I understand because I do it. I take it like a couple hero cards maybe, and they give them out behind the haulers at the in the garage area and whatnot. And I don't. Well, I've noticed Penske actually put covers on there so people won't gobble them up, which is smart, I think, and only like give them out during like certain times where it's like you got to catch them and then they're going to come back up. But like I think like the chase hero cards, of course, they don't have them out at all until like race day because they know somebody's going to end up taking the whole stack or more than one day or more than they need to take. But I could definitely see taking a couple hero cards, maybe like one or two die casts that you want to get signed, but like tubs of them, it's ridiculous, really
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Darlington weekend. Me and you, I guess we all sat in one spot for like hours waiting for those drivers to go up on the stage.
Yeah,
But I mean, when I go to a track and I'm anticipating or meeting some drivers, I value like taking pictures with the drivers more than getting their autograph. I feel like that's more special to me personally. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I would much rather have a picture with the driver rather than them sign a hero card. But that's just me.
yeah. For me,
yeah,
yeah, I think it just depends on the driver. Like if it's a
Right.
driver that like I've gotten their autograph before, like Blaney, I've gotten his, and Brad, that was cool. I never gotten Brad's autograph. I think I met Brad like twice before that, and but never got his autograph. So that was cool to get his. So I think as a collector and someone who actually like collects and enjoys collecting, yeah, it's good. But then then you have the ones like you say that trample over us, try to meet the driver, get all their junk signed, and just for it to end up on eBay. That's what kills me.
yeah. Um, and the other thing too is like most NASCAR drivers are very. I know they don't the events and the appearances aren't as much as they used to be, but when they do things and they're around the track, they seem to be pretty gracious with their time. They're very approachable. They do sign. They do as much of that as they can. So when people take advantage of it, it's a real downer for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
but but yeah,
Well, since we got that off our chest and you got the Netflix special off your chest, and Thomas got his, eBay diecast sniffer off his chest. Let's let's dive into our fuel for thought, and I want to talk about Rajah Caruth. Rajah is from Atlanta. He's 21 or 22 years old. He is currently getting ready to take on a full season in Aspire truck number 71 Hendrick Cars truck. So I want to talk about Rajah's future, his expectations, what to expect. What do you think his future plans are? but I'm gonna give you a little background on Rajah. Rajah went his first race was at Richmond, I think, and he got hooked on, and then he did a little racing on the NASCAR E Series, and he raced late models for a period of time, I think, for the weekly series, and then he moved to ARCA, and he moved to ARCA East, and then I first seen Rajah race was at it. It was at Hickory. It was at Hickory Motor Speedway racing the late model there in 2020, I want to say. And he's been through the ranks. You know, he's got a couple opportunities in Xfinity, and I've 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 talked to Rajah a couple times at Martinsville. Hung out with, actually was on pit road with his team. I want to say it was fall of 2022, I think. And really nice kid, really nice guy. You know, we're all about the same age, and he is also a full time student at Winston Salem State. He is a junior, and while doing that, he's doing racing, and I'm sure he's either wrapping up or he's currently on Twitch, doing some iRacing stuff. So I just want to ask you guys, what do you guys think with him doing full time in a 71 truck with Hendrick on the hood? What do you think his expectations are going forward, and what do you think his outlook is going forward with this opportunity with the 71?
Yeah, so I would say that, and to sum it up in a nutshell, I mean, I think it's a tremendous opportunity this year to take a huge leap. You know, last year with the full-time truck, I mean, he had 4 top tens. I every time I don't watch every truck race from big flag to flag, but when I do, I would always see him start, progress up, get better as the race went. Usually he's around 10 to 15th typically, but then sometimes he sneak into the top 10. It may not finish there, but he was racing anywhere from like say 7 to 10th. So I think that was a really good year last year for him in the trucks. And then now he gets over to Spire, old KBM. He gets the HendrickCars.com backing, which I mean, that's awesome. The truck looks phenomenal. The number 71. I just think there's a real opportunity for him to make a leap this year. He's absolutely a great kid. I didn't know until recently, I think we might have been at the Winston Cup Museum, and you were telling me, well, yeah, Rajah, we passed it going up.
Yeah.
Rajah's it, look over there. Rajah's probably walking the class or something, something funny. But I didn't even know that. So to be a full-time student at a university here in North Carolina and be a full-time NASCAR driver, I mean, it speaks volumes. The kid just seems like an amazing talent. And coming up through iRacing, I kind of see almost like a William Byron-ish type of path with him. But I will say that he probably needs to make a leap this year. And I don't want that to put pressure on the kid, because I think, that's a lot to handle. But I'd love to see him get a dub. I think it's all right there for him. And I really think, if he can turn some heads, this could be a somewhat of a make or break year in his career path projection. If he can, make some hay this year. What do you got, Thomas?
I think this opportunity in the truck series is a really great one, and I'm hoping he can do good. He maybe win a few races, maybe run good. But yeah, I really want to see him do well. I mean, I think there could have been a better paint scheme. I mean, better than Hendrick card. I mean, come on, But anyway, I mean, I want him to do really well. But I mean, maybe in the future he might go to cup racing. I mean, you made a really good point about comparing him to William Byron through the coming up through iRacing. So maybe in the future we could see Rajah Caruth in the Cup Series. Maybe in a top ride like William Byron. There's definitely are some parallels there that I think we need to keep a watch out. But I mean, overall, I think this is a great opportunity for him, and I want to see him do well.
Now, Thomas, you say you want to see him cup racing. You like to see him cup racing. Do you think there is a possibility that he could maybe take over the 48 at some point? And Gene, you can answer this question too. Do you guys see a point where with the Spire and Hendrick alliance, with Hendrick cars on the hood, does he take an opportunity at some point with Junior Motorsports or a top tier Chevy Xfinity team, and then somehow maybe end up in the 48 at some point down the line?
I think it's very possible. I mean, depending on what he does, this season in the Truck Series, I could see him working his way up there, and especially fast forwarding to the Cup Series with Bowman struggling. I mean, they might be looking for a replacement maybe in the next 2 or 3 seasons, and he already has an alliance with Hendrick. They already know him. He's a talented race car driver, so I'm thinking there is a good possibility that we could see him in a top Hendrick ride.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pump brakes just a little on that and say that I think a lot would have to happen, like a lot of dominoes would have to fall for him to get that opportunity, even with a phenomenal year in the truck this year. But what I do like is that he's with Spire. The path to Cup is in the building. So what I could see is a team like that gets support indirectly through Hendrick with engines and things of that nature. I could see his path more likely getting the Cup that way. I don't know. I think Carson Hocevar is going to run well. I think Corey LaJoie is going to have a bit of a leap too. So I don't know when that timeline will be, but I'm just glad he's in the building over there at Spire, because I really think that's where the opportunity will lie. And in the distant future, if all the things break and then he gets in the Spire Cup car and runs well, then that would be about the timeline. Because we alluded to it last week where I was asked, I said something like, Hendrick needs to be looking at that next generation. Right. The reason I said it that way is I really think that the folks that they got in the 4 Cup cars at Hendrick are going to be there for probably 7 to 10 more years. You got maybe Kyle Larson leaving out first, and then those other 3. I mean, unless Bowman has a true regression, unlike we've seen. I mean, I'm actually thinking big things for him this year, so I would be shocked if that happened in that way. But yeah, I just think Spire would probably be the right progression once he gets to winning in this 71 truck. And I will back Thomas up. Like, I think there was an opportunity. I love the Ricky Hendrick tribute scheme. I think Kyle should run that to the day he decides to hang up the Cup car. But if there's an opportunity to rebrand a little and make something fresh with the HendrickCars.com sponsorship, I thought it probably would have been good to make that truck a little bit different and make it something specific more to Rajah and but it's pretty obvious like that. That's like the go-to scheme. William Byron's run that truck. Kyle's run it. I can't remember if Chase has run that scheme, but I don't think he has. But like
I think he ran it into 7.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Ran to
okay.
7. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he win Martinsville on that truck?
I don't think it was Martinsville. It was no. Was it Bristol?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember, boys. I know Byron and Larson ran it, but I tell you, I'm now that they're doing it very consistently, I guess it makes sense. But there was an opportunity, Thomas, to maybe throw a fresh set of graphics on that car or on that truck.
I didn't say that as like a shot to Larson. Like I just think that paint scheme's overused. Yeah. I think they should, just refresh it a little bit, or like you said, give something, fresh to Rajah, give him something more. Still use the HendrickCars.com like sponsor, but change it up and give something more unique to him. But
no, I'm with you, man. Kyle runs this car like, probably 35 out of 30. Well, 33 out of 36 races. So I'm with you, man. Like, I love the scheme. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But like the Tony Stewart throwback Darlington scheme, that is a Hendrick scheme, and that old Busch car that Tony won in for Hendrick. I love something like that, even if you wanted to quote unquote stick to the roots. But we'll get used to it. Fair enough. But yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for Rajah this year. I really think it's I think he's definitely a kid you can easily get behind, root for. Just the way he is, the humility, and the way he's come up. William Byron's kind of was a bit of a litmus test for guys that don't really traditionally come up through the
Yeah.
ranks, so to speak. But I think we're going to see more and more of that as we move along in the sport. So good luck to him. Can't wait to see what he does on Friday nights in that truck. And man, I could see 3-4 wins. I mean, is it too much to say that he could be a championship contender by the end of this thing? I mean, I don't
I
know.
wouldn't count him out.
No. I mean, what? Just my very limited view of him. I see a guy that takes equipment and gets the most out of it.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Thomas, to answer your question about the Chase Hendrick Cars 7, it was Bristol Dirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Well,
couldn't remember which one it was. I could have swore he won one of those races in it, but I couldn't remember.
yeah. I think the Martinsville one, I think it was the Allegiant 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That blue one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. That and the
Yep.
iRacing. The
Yeah.
iRacing.
Well, since we're on the subject of Chase Elliott and trucks and diecast and whichever, so we're gonna head into our outro here, and I want to thank Mr. Flag to Flag for bringing this to my attention. And I would say living in Charlotte and Concord around Mecklenburg and Cabarrus County has its perks. So for my diecast reveal, I am revealing, it's already out the box, this 2024 Hendrick Napa number 9 Chase Elliott Advanced Auto Parts Camaro. I will say this diecast, when I first saw the scheme, I was like, yeah, I felt iffy about it, but seeing it in person, seeing this, it makes me want to go get a liquid color or a color chrome in this. And I know you had mentioned the gold number 9 on the top, the light white letters on the side, like the No Bull cars, and I think I like that one a lot. That, and then the Hendrick 40th anniversary on the C post, I do like that as well. So that's my review for this episode 7.
Yeah, that's a sweet piece to get right before the season starts, Caleb. Thomas, you got to hurry up and move a little closer this way. You're not far, but yeah, I'm in Hendrick this week, and I'm not here for diecast. Number one, I'm picking up T-shirts and things, but like I'm gonna push this up as close as I can. So that C post, let me see if I can. Can y'all see that 40th anniversary logo? Because that's probably not
tilt it down.
Well, if I do that like that,
there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Right there next to Valvoline.
Uh-huh.
But I'm in there and they're like, hey, we got some advanced run paint schemes for this year for the 2024, and lo and behold, they had a 5, a 20, a 9, a 24, and a 48. They had 300 apiece. And I wasn't going to get one because I've got it pre-ordered in Lionel. But when he told me that on the box, on the little tab that says what it is, sure enough, it says advanced run 1 of 300. And he got me. I had to have it at that point. Called Caleb up and say, hey, brother, you got to get over here because I don't know how long these are going to last. And the next day, Caleb was up there getting his. So,
I'm guilty, and I walked away with another diecast. Like, my intention was to go in there to get one diecast and walked out with 2.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them. Obviously you don't have to reveal, but tell them what else you ended up with.
Yeah, I ended up with the 2018 Chase Elliott Darlington throwback, the Casey Elliott throwback. It's the yellow one in the case right there. Yeah, so I got that one, and the 2019 throwback is on the way too, and let's just say we're working on 2016, 2017 cars. So that
Yeah.
case is about done.
Caleb, you're a pro at being able to point back because people don't realize how hard that's on the YouTube video, folks. When we're pointing back, I mess it up every time because it's inverted,
Yeah.
and you think you pointing left and you going right, and Caleb points at it like he's got eyes in the back of his head. So you nail it every time. So good kudos to you for that. But yeah, and it's I want to give a shout out to Abby over there at the Hendrick Motorsports Gift Shop and the crew that helps us every time we go in there. I mean, when she took over management of reopening of the museum and stuff, that place, if y'all don't, if you're in the greater Charlotte area and you don't get over to Hendrick Motorsports to their gift shop, it is absolutely the best I've ever seen it. I mean, she's ordering stuff and getting new stuff in weekly. And I've been going since like 96, 97. It's never a better time to go to the Hendrick Motorsports Museum and hit that gift shop because there is something for everybody. And definitely want to check them out. So thanks, y'all. We Caleb and I go in there quite a bit. Thomas, I know when you're in town, you hit it up too. But yeah, we spend quite a bit of money in there. So
yeah, there's just enough that we can get free tumblers. So
oh yeah, they got a deal going on right now. It's like a free tumbler when you spend a certain amount of money. I can't remember what it is, but we always crush that amount. So I'm not even worried about it. I can't go in there and not spend $75-$100, and that's probably the low end, guys. So don't want to tell on myself.
But yeah, I'm with you. Shout out to Team Hendrick. Shout out to Abby and all the team out there at Hendrick Museum and Hendrick Motorsports and whatnot. We appreciate you guys, and we appreciate the diecast and the shirts and the merchandise.
Yeah, that's all I have for my outro. Thomas, you got anything?
Nope.
All right, boys. Well, I mean, it's another one in the books. I mean, we got the Daytona 500 to look forward to. I'll be out there. Hopefully it runs on time. There's some weather in the area. Caleb, go ahead and do your thing, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As always, we appreciate the listeners. We appreciate the new followers. Don't be afraid to check us out at the racetrack. We'll be, like I say, Richmond, Charlotte, Wilkesboro. Gene will be at Daytona. And as always, give us a listen on Spotify. Give us a follow on Spotify. And if you would, check out our TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, guys. We will see you next week for episode 8 of NASCAR Nuts and Bolts Podcast.